Hey, this is just a quick video to show you how I use Mastin Labs to quickly edit my photos. It's part of a much larger review, so if you'd like to read the whole thing, be sure to check out the link in the description. So here's what I do. I go into the develop module inside Lightroom, and in the left-hand side I have Fuji Pro, Ilford Black and White, and Portra. And quite quickly what I'll do is, excuse me a second, when I put up the preview for this image, is I'll find the preview for the image, and going over each of the presets, I will see the different effect it has. Looking at this, not that fond of the Portra on these images. Do quite like the black and white, but we also have some very complementing colors with the purple and the green in here, so I'd like to keep it in color. So I will go through these ones here, and looking at these previews, I can tell you that I don't particularly like that green. So what I'll do instead is I'll probably select the Fuji, because I know that the greens are much more to my taste in this image. You would also want to adjust the white balance, but I think in this instance it's pretty accurate. So already I can see that the colors pop out a lot more. So what I'd like to do now is go over all the highlights and shadows to see if I want them hard or soft. And looking at this image, when we added this, the highlights definitely started to pop out in the shirt here. And I like to see the highlights in this image. It makes the skin really soft too. So I don't want to soften the highlights, but I might want to change the shadows a little bit. Maybe if I make the shadows hard, I can see that the highlights are still there, but we get a little bit more contrast. At this rate, I'm pretty happy with the overall image. I might want to add some grain, or I'll do some lens correction, which will certainly lighten the borders. But you can see that took me just a matter of seconds, and if I hit the before and after key, you can see it's actually a pretty huge impact. If you look at the shadows over her eyes here, I think it's a much nicer image, and it's just so fast with using Mastin Labs. This over here, this section, these preview presets, this is what Mastin Labs will provide you with, and I personally like them very much. But when you start to stray away from these settings here and come over and make adjustments here, you're no longer going to be doing true film emulation, because you're straying away from the presets. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not a purist in that I have to have only Mastin Labs presets. A lot of the time I will use it as a jumping off point, and just, maybe I want to add some presence to the image, or I want to make various changes to saturation, because I know saturation and vibrance comes down a little bit. Maybe I want to set this to 0. I will make slight changes, but I would always start over here. The purist probably won't come to this section over here though. So moving on, we'll have a look at this image here. I want to show you that I would typically use a Portra preset for this. Now, a couple of things I need to do first. You can tell I shot this while sitting on a horse, so not the most ideal shooting conditions. It was shot at a 400th of a second and a high ISO while shooting into the sun, because I just need that extra shutter speed to keep everything still. So I'm just going to fix the crop there and the exposure. Now I'll go down to the portrait settings, and again I'll look in the preview window, and I can tell just by looking at these that Portra 400 is probably going to be my favorite. And wow, what a difference that makes. There's not a whole lot more I need to do to this. Maybe I want to bring the shadows out in the clouds a little bit more. We can try it all soft. Or maybe we just want to do shadow soft. Fix this just slightly more here. I want to get this building level. And I can see a little bit of chromatic aberration over here, but for the sake of this, I think it does a pretty good job of showing you exactly what it's supposed to look like. And again, here's the preview before and after images. It's these are some of my favorite presets. In fact, Mastin Labs are my favorite presets ever made. But Portra 160 and Pan F are probably by far my favorite. It just, different lighting conditions, you would use different presets based on your personal taste. Here I'm using Portra 400 because I just think it makes it look a little bit nicer. Now finally, let me show you how I process an image using the Ilford black and white film presets. Again, same process. I go over these. I can tell already that Pan F is going to be my favorite. It's a little bit dark on the underside of the plane here, so maybe I want to change the lighting to soft, and I also want the clouds to pop out a little bit, so I'm going to hit the red, green or yellow filter. In this instance, you can tell from the preview window that red is doing most of the work there. I might fix the rotation to make it a little bit straighter, but it's quite a wide angle lens, so it's not too much of a concern here, especially not for this experiment. So that's a pretty good point already. I like to add a little bit of clarity to some of my images, nothing further than about 15. But as a jumping off point, Mastin Labs is, it's getting me 98% of the way there, and then anything else is just personal preference. And there's a preview of that before an image. I mean, look at how stunning that is as a black and white preset. For those of you wondering, by the way, this is St. Martin in the Caribbean. They have the airport right on the beach. So this is a 747, the biggest jumbo jet to land on the island. It comes in almost every day, I think, but it has to get really close. So that's why we are standing underneath an airplane. Cool, so that is my little video on how I used the Mastin Labs presets. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.